Alrighty, what is up, guys? Just kicked this stream off, so gonna check and see if anybody's in here yet. Doesn't look like there is. That's okay. We'll just chill for a minute, check some Twitter. Um, let's see here. So we just got a new weekly candle, which is kind of a big deal. Happens every week, but real tight spread going on here. So I'm just waiting for people to kind of start showing up in the stream here. And as soon as we get a couple people, we will go ahead and get started. Scrolling through Twitter a little bit. Nobody on here. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start anyway, because I know there are at least a couple people that were interested in watching. So, let's see. So, first things first, the weekly candle, the new one just opened. So we had a red or negative weekly candle opened, and we're charting on the XBT USD pair here. So the week opened at, looks like 6427.5, closed at 6260. So it's not a very big spread. Really tight range all week. So as you can see, we kind of didn't get a whole lot going on there. Give me a second, let me turn magnet mode on. Makes life a little bit easier. Yeah, so 4.92%. So about a 4.92% spread throughout the week. That's pretty tight. That's actually, kind of closer to in line with like traditional markets. If you track forex or stocks, a lot of these will have spreads that aren't necessarily massive. If there's no news on the particular asset you're trading. So yeah, not a whole lot going on there. But let's go ahead. We're gonna do a breakdown. So I went ahead and cleared my chart completely of everything I was looking at. So let's see. Okay, we got 8 people in here. Cool. I did manage to fix the audio. I don't know if you guys were, any of you guys were in the stream I was doing a couple of days ago. Actually, that was yesterday, Saturday. Anyway, my sense of time is messed up. But yeah, I figured out what the audio was. It was picking up on not my headset microphone. It was picking up on my laptop built-in microphone, which is why you guys were hearing the whine of the computer fans. So let me know if that's fixed. Please do. It should be, but I want to hear from you guys. So what's up, Carmen? Yeah, so we're going to be breaking this down. Again, cleared all my drawing tools and everything off. So first things first, we're going to start out zooming out on the weekly chart, which is where we're at right now. We just saw that close. Looks like we're already getting a little bit of green popping up on since the open, which happened like 3 minutes ago. So first things I'm looking at here, I'm looking to draw an order block. Now this is pretty easy because I've had this drawn for quite some time, but we've been chilling in this order block for forever now. It feels like. Last time we had a bit of excitement was like end of July, when we were like, hey, we're gonna pop out. Just kidding, we're back. So we'll go ahead and draw the 50% of that, or the EQ. And really, I mean, we could draw this one down here too if we wanted to, but we're not anything close to that. If we see a breakdown on the weekly structure, then yeah, we'll go ahead and start paying attention to some of that. But for right now, that's really the only important level I'm really watching on the weekly. And like I said, we've just been chilling in there for the past like month and a half or a couple months. Anyway, so that's our weekly chart. We are looking, we're seeing diminishing volume, which is, we're not really seeing the price range. We're seeing diminishing volume, consolidation before expansion, right? Could be good, could be bad. I think most of us are betting that overall we're going to break upwards. I still keep seeing perma bears floating around that think we're going to go to 3K or 1K, but they have gotten quieter over the last couple months. I think most people, and myself included, think if we were going to go to 3K or 1K or wherever, that we would have already broken downwards by now. That's my opinion. but again, I'm a trader. I'll trade bidirectionally. Whatever happens, I'm going to do my best to make money off of it. So anyway, we are closing weeklies below the EQ. We've seen that happen consistently. Normally this is a bearish indicator, but again, it doesn't seem to want to break. We're seeing low volume, so that we know we're exhausting supply as the volume continues to drop. So price is going to have to go somewhere, right, in order for more buyers or sellers to step in. Because as of right now, there's just not a whole lot of interest at the levels we're at. So we're going to go ahead and zoom into the 1-day chart, right? Because I do most of my charting on the 1 week, 1 day, 4 hour, and then sometimes down to like the 15-minute for my intraday stuff. But we're not going to get that detailed tonight. I'm going to go ahead and change. If you're wondering why that order block disappeared, it's because I have it set so it only shows up on the weekly chart, so it's not clogging my thing. I'm going to go ahead and change this to red so I know which one it is. It's just a little visual tool for me. So this is that. Let me see. Did I actually draw that the way I meant to? Because I feel like it was at a different level before. I just want to make sure. Okay. Alright, yes, cool. Just making sure. So, yeah, we've been trading below this for quite some time. You know, since like, what is that, end of September. So for about a month now, a little over that, a month and a half maybe. We've been trading below this weekly EQ, which again is, for as long as that happens, it makes me more likely to want to take short positions. Because again, we got to take a top-down look at market structure, right? So we don't want to be trading against the trend or against the signals we're seeing if we can avoid it. And if we are going to trade against it, you know, the higher time frame we plan on holding the trade, the more careful we need to be with our risk management. If we're going to try to fade the trend or fade our bullish or bearish indicators. So always something to keep in mind. On the daily chart, a whole bunch of stuff we could draw, but the levels I've been looking at recently, I'm looking for things that break market structure, right? So like this candle right here, that's an order block. I mean, as of right now, it's not hugely important because our price isn't really that close to it, but we're going to go ahead and draw it for illustration's sake anyway. And this one we're going to keep black. So as you can see, you know, this point has been pretty well respected. You know, we came down, had our first touch, and then got pretty close there exactly a month ago, actually. But we haven't seen a return to that level. And if we did, I actually wouldn't be very happy about it because, you know, we'll see a first reaction. First reaction was pretty strong, right? I mean, we have the candle that formed the order block, and then a strong reaction. And then first touch, strong reaction. Second touch, we're going to go ahead and qualify this as a touch because it made it within the order block. It didn't make it to the EQ, but you know, the reaction was not nearly as strong. Third touch, even weaker than the second, didn't even make it as high. This is a bit of an anomaly right there. Fourth touch, I'd be getting a bit nervous, to be honest with you. If we don't immediately skyrocket off, I'm probably gonna be thinking it's a no trade zone personally, or short-term trades only. You know, intraday, maybe a day or two tops. But it'll be one of those situations where I'm not really confident in what the market overall is doing. And so, you know, I need to keep a stricter eye on my risk management, and you know, make sure I'm not on the wrong side of a massive move. Because it's more important that you are not on the wrong side of a massive move than it is to catch the massive move on the correct side, right? Capital preservation before capital gains. So that is the first daily level I'm looking at. Now the second one, we can draw a couple different sort of daily OBs here, but I think the best are going to be, we could either draw this candle as an OB because we see a break of market structure immediately following it, or we could draw this one, but I tend to like this one a bit better. So that's what we're going to go ahead and draw. And this one, I'm going to draw the OB for you so you can see it. but I haven't been keeping this block on the chart because we've spent a lot of time in it. I don't need to see that the block's there. I just know it's there. I've just been leaving this EQ, this 50% level. So let's see here. So the other one we can also draw is back here. I'll show you that one as well. So again, because we're trading in such a tight range, we're just getting a ton of different signals. A lot of confluence in like this really tight zone here. A lot of little levels to play. Kind of what I've been looking at for a while. And then, let's see, I'm just going to go ahead and draw everything. So this is that 6370 level I've been talking about. Right here is the 50% of this candle. And again, it kind of qualifies. This one is probably better, but price hasn't really seemed to do much at that level. So I've been going off of the 6370. I'm going to go ahead and delete these so you can see what it is I'm talking about, because right now it just looks confusing as fuck. So as you can see, when we zoom in, I'm going to go ahead and zoom into the 4 hour real quick. We've got a lot closer respect to this level than we do the other ones. So I need to edit that so that the Obi's not showing up in all of that. But yeah, so these are pretty much the three main lines I've had on my chart for a while. And then I also have I also had 6210 now, if only I can remember where I got that from. I think that was a 4 hour EQ. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of just range bound. You know, if we get a daily candle close over this 637 mark, I would say it's probably a pretty decent long opportunity. You can at least catch a couple percent. Again, we're not seeing these wild swings, so it's not like we're really seeing too much reaching to one side of the range or the other. Or if you want to play those, you're gonna have to wait for a while. I tend to play more intraday trades, and then the ones I post, I don't post the intraday so much because by the time I post it, it's, you know, the odds of you guys seeing it immediately are pretty low. So you guys see more of like my short-term swing trades because that's what I post most often. But I don't remember where I was getting at with that. But anyway, not important right now. So these are pretty much the daily levels I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. Now our weekly close was just below that 6370 level, right? We had a weekly close at 6361, so that was $9 below that, which to me sounds bearish. That's good because I'm in a short right now, so that's great news for me. But we are poking back above that, and yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and zoom into the 4 hour, see what we can find there. Again, this weekly close was pretty uneventful. Where's all this blue coming from? That shouldn't be visible on this time frame. No, I don't want to see it on the hour chart. Okay, there we go. That would be why. So I deleted all my drawing indicators, so I'll have to redraw my short position. I believe it was an entry at 6370. I'm just doing this for my own peace of mind. And then I think the stop was 6435 if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that. I know it's not been stopped out yet, so. And then 6210. There we go. So that is my current short position that I'm in. Excuse me, 6240. I keep saying 6210. I'm short to 6240 and have bids stacked at 6210, so that I can catch a long position at that point. Anyway, so on the 4 hour chart, let's go ahead and find some stuff to draw here. So this is the candle I've been using for the basis of my order blocks right here, because it seems to be pretty well respected, right? It's a shift in market structure. Obviously, we see a jump straight up after that, so we know that the smart money was buying on this down candle, on this liquidity, and we see the immediate market reaction to that. By the way, we jump back up, and we can see that it was pretty well respected from that point forward. This this zone, this liquidity zone. You know, we have a couple perfect touches right there. And this one didn't quite get there. I was hoping to be able to close out my position right there at that 6240 level. Didn't quite happen. And yeah, kind of disappointed about that. But as long as we continue to close daily candles below 6370, I'm going to keep that position open. So if we manage to close a daily candle, because that's the basis, the base time frame that we drew this level off of. Shout out to TraderMain. He kind of taught me how to use EQs indirectly via his YouTube channel, so go check him out. Anyway, yeah. So as long as the daily candle closes below, I'm gonna still feel comfortable in this trade. You know, assuming I don't already get stopped out, which I'm not convinced that this is where I had this level. I might actually be stopped out on that wick. I'll have to go check. But yeah. But as soon as the daily candle closes above that, no good. I'm gonna wanna dump that short position. So targeting here again, hoping to get a long order at 6210. Kind of just boring range bound market motion. The weekly close didn't really tell us a whole lot at the moment. So kind of an uneventful week as far as Bitcoin goes. That's my current play, you know. And then if we do manage to break above this level convincingly, it looks like we are seeing a small uptick in volume here. Then you know, my next target is hopefully going to be up at this 6612 level, somewhere around there. Now this is a weekly level, as we talked about, so it's not going to show up quite as exactly on the lower time frame charts, but definitely an important area to be watching for nonetheless. So again, if we manage to close a daily candle above here, that would be my next most likely target. And you can see, you know, we had that happen here, but we didn't quite make it up there. So the range has just been kind of constricting, just narrowing. It's a scalper's heaven. It's not so much good for your swing traders though. But yeah, but lately the real action has been in alts. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple alts. Let's see what you guys want to see. Has to be let's just do Binance and BitMEX alts. So I'm not going over to Golden Signals to do this. So sound is good. Awesome. Significance of that particular candle for the range. That was a while ago. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. But what I'm looking for to drawing my order blocks is a candle of high volume that precedes a break in market structure, right? So like this one we chose because we see that it is a relatively higher volume compared to the candles around it, and it's immediately preceded by a break in market structure. You know, we were doing this kind of sideways, slowly floating up thing. We drop, and then boom, all of a sudden everything looks different with this massive candle here, right? So that establishes this candle as a basis for an order block, and the same is true of the rest of them that I drew this off of. So there are different people draw order blocks kind of different ways, but that is the way I do it. Some people do it based off of ranges or places where price pauses. So let's find an example of that. So for example, some people would draw like an order block like right here, because you know we see this downward motion and then we see a pause, right? Also right here. Some people like to draw them on ranges, so they would draw them like here to here and have that draw across. It can be useful regardless of how you draw it. It's just you have to know how you use it and stick to those rules, right? There's a lot of different profitable trading systems. Just stick to the rules that belong to your trading system, and don't try to implement funny stuff from other systems, unless you thoroughly understand them and can really unless you thoroughly understand both systems and are able to create your own hybrid monster looking thing. But even so, you're going to want to back test that significantly before you start messing with creating your own stuff, to be honest. So, yeah, so let's take a look at some alts. What are we looking at? That candle is the weekly order block that we've been trading in for many months. Yes, that is correct. There are many order blocks we've been trading in. Why that one? That one is the highest time frame order block that I can find, at least on the weekly. So we'll go ahead and zoom out and talk about that again. So there's not, like, if you look on the weekly candle, we don't really see a break in market structure. We see a break in market structure here. This is kind of just one of those pause candles. We have 3 weeks of mostly sideways action, but it's continued by range up, so we can tell that, you know, this candle is relatively higher volume compared to the ones next to it, and a break in market structure follows. Now this is a very small market structure, but it is a market structure nonetheless. So I think this is also a pretty good marking point for when we kind of started to go parabolic, because this growth is crazy, but it's fairly organic still. You know, this is when stuff starts going crazy. We have and here too, like this is normal healthy growth. This is a little bit crazy, and this is really crazy. So, but here we haven't really had a break in market structure necessarily. Like this could be an order block, I suppose. Because it's times when we're paused. So I mean, technically, you could make one out of this candle. You could make one out of this candle. There's not really a good one for this range here. But overall, this is the best candidate. This candle right here, and like I said, it's very well respected. If you zoom in and kind of look at the different at the way it interacts. So we have, you know, this is where we dip to here. Yes, we get an overshoot, but that's okay. You know, that's where we stop here. We see very close interaction all along this range with that EQ and with, you know, this sort of general area where this order block is, right? So it makes sense to draw it there because it's something we can use. It gives us a tool. Let's see. All right, so some alts. An order block, bearish versus bullish. So yeah, I'll answer this question before we jump into the alts. Bearish order block is like, so let's find a good example. A bearish order block is an order block you draw based off something that breaks market structure in a bearish manner. So for example, this is going to be an order block right here, this daily. Why? Because immediately after it, we saw a break in market structure, which started our downfall. So that's bearish. A bullish order block is one that broke upwards after forming, right? And that's not really that important. The important part is just knowing where they are. So you also have, you know, some traders use what order blocks as supply and demand zones. Realistically, an order block is just a marker of an area where orders are likely to be found, both buy and sell orders. So, and depending on which side of the block the price is currently trading on, is going to determine which kind of orders are mostly found in that area, right? So obviously we're above this order block right here, which means there's mostly going to be buy orders there. Nobody's going to wait, oh, okay, I'm going to wait till it drops to 5,900 and then sell it. That just doesn't make any sense. Although I'm sure there will be some people panic shorting. You know, it's going to happen. But it's not like they're sitting there waiting with bids stacked right now, or excuse me, with asks stacked right now to short that area. If they wanted to short, they'd just be doing it right now, right? So it's technically, so this is a bullish order block because we expect bids to be placed here, right? A bearish order block formed up here, we would expect asks to be stacked. So that's really the only difference. So ADA, yeah, let's check out ADA. I'm gonna go ahead and do the BitMEX contract. Actually, there's not a whole lot of history on this one. So we'll go ahead and do Binance. I don't have much drawn on this one right now. I have nothing drawn on this one right now. Cool. Fresh chart. So let's go ahead and do the same thing, right? Because we want to start with that top-down approach. This one is super easy. Would you look at that? I wonder where we're going to go ahead and start our order block from on the weekly. Gosh, I can't imagine. Visibility, days, weeks. Okay, cool. That is just what we wanted. Going to draw that there and then change it to red. I just like having the weekly in red because it reminds me of which time frame I'm looking at, because otherwise I'll get confused if I'm looking at like the 15-minute or 4-hour or whatever. I'm like, okay, where did that one come from, right? So, I mean, that's almost perfect right there. It doesn't quite come down, but we are floating just above that order block there. So on the weekly structure, this looks really bullish right now, right? We haven't even managed to break halfway through the order block. We haven't gotten a strong reaction out of it, which isn't good, but we are seeing some buy volume, right? We're seeing over the past couple of weeks, we see a slight U-turn, a slight uptick in volume. So that looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and zoom into the daily. Yeah, I mean, that was close. That low there was, what was it? 969. That was a 950 on the dot. So yeah, looks pretty cool. So let's see. On the daily, we're going to have this block right here, right? Because we were in a downtrend, and then now we can see it transitioned into a ranging market. Now, the only downside with drawing this one is that right now there's no points at which prices come back to touch it. So we haven't even really seen a true test of this area. Now, I will say that this is semi-common on alts because alts don't have nearly the level of liquidity that say BitMEX does, right? Because there's so many more contracts being traded on BitMEX, and the higher liquidity, the more likely that there's going to be these concepts that I use are going to work. And the reason for that is the higher the liquidity, the bigger players can enter, and the bigger players can enter, the more orders they're going to be able to put in the market. The big players tend to be the smart players. They're not always, right? Big money isn't always smart money, but it's a pretty good bet that big money is smart money. And they're going to know exactly where they should and should not have buy and sell orders, whereas retail, not quite so smart. That's my explanation for why that works. That could be completely off, but that's what makes sense in my head. And anyway, fact of the matter is, order blocks, this type of stuff works a lot better on higher liquidity, higher volume coins. So like on the ADAZ18 contract, which is the current December contract for Cardano, this stuff works just a little bit better. Why? Because there's more people trading it there. There's more volume, more contracts being traded on a regular basis. And part of that is also due to the availability of leverage, but that's a whole different topic. So that's our daily order block for Cardano down here. That's our bullish order block. Now our bearish order block, this one's kind of tricky because there's some weird stuff going on here. But it looks like to me that we could either draw it right here, but there's not really any points of respect at that point, or we could draw it somewhere like here. I think that's what we're going to do. Right, and that looks like it's fairly well respected right there, right? Now we may or may not see. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see how it interacts with the zone again, but it seems to be making sense. We dipped a little bit into it and then got a decently strong rejection off, right? Some people will also put EQs in the middle of ranges, which would actually make a decent amount of sense here, because our range is pretty much from, like, I would say, like right here. Oh, that's nasty. Let's go ahead and make that look prettier. Whoops. All right, so I would say our range is primarily, between these two lines, right? Makes sense. That's where the majority of price action has this. Kind of a fake out, a little bit of an exception. If we wanted to, we could draw an EQ between those 2 points. I don't recommend using all of these techniques at the same time, but I'm just kind of showing you guys, giving you an idea of how some of you can implement some of these techniques if you so decide to do so. And this is pretty decently well respected, right? This equilibrium. We have a couple touches. If you can see, okay, daily closes below, pretty good to short. Hey, look, we hit the edge of the range. We fail to close the daily below the range, which means we're most likely going up. And you had 4 days actually to jump in right at this 1096 level, or within a couple sats of that. And then we go all the way back up. We see, oh well, we're already long. Daily closes well above the EQ point. Might as well stay long until we hit the top, which actually happened all in one day. But yeah, you wouldn't want to necessarily bet on this if you're using this sort of a technique. But anyway, that was kind of just an illustration there for you. Go ahead and get rid of those. So looking on a more macro scale, these are the kind of this is where you'd want to stack, stack your bids. This would be where you want to stack your asks if you're trying to trade the range. But overall, again, zooming back out on that weekly chart, this is a pretty good spot to just buy and hang on to the thing, right? And especially since Cardano is, it's one of those on the Coinbase listing. Like, there's literally no reason to, if you're just buying spot, if you're just buying on Binance and hanging on to it, especially if you like to hold stuff for a while, like this is a great area to enter and just start staggering buys, every, I don't know, like every 100 satoshis down. And again, we haven't ever gotten to that 950 level quite. We got close. So I would zoom in just a little bit, and so current price 11.94. Just stagger buys down there, and we haven't spent much time down in this area, so stagger most of your buys up here, and then a couple low buys just in case you don't get filled down to that level. If it's something you're looking at to hold for a while, it may or may not ever fill, but hey, if it does, you'll be happy you got it. So yeah, Cardano kind of just range bound right now. We're gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour. And the prices aren't going to be exactly the same on MEX because it's a contract. It's not the actual spot asset that you trade on MEX. But, the price zones will be about the same. It'll be very similar. So, let's see. Looking for breaks in market structure, right? We could draw an order block here, maybe. Like that could work. Not exactly the most useful one in the world. Not a whole lot going on in that area right now. So, you want to look for, okay, where's price? Price is right around here. So we're going to look for order blocks around that area. I would say this, we have a bit of a sideways action going on. This right here kicked us off on the downturn. Or you could draw from here. Just do either or and see which one works better. Let me zoom in a little bit. So, we were looking at these two candles. This yellow one here and this yellow one. Let's go ahead and start from, I hate this. I hate when alts are, when the next candle actually skips a Satoshi or two and they open at different prices. That's just going to have to be close enough there to the 50% EQ. I think it actually is. Maybe. That's close enough. So we'll go ahead and run that out. There we go. So you can see we have some decent respect for this area, right? I mean, it works. It kind of broke up, had a bit of a fake out, dropped back down, came back, retested. So that's a little bit of a support resistance flip. Kind of weird how it plays out, but and then we have some decent respect in this area too. But overall, if we're closing above this area, you might want to place stops below. Like below right here, so maybe around 1150, something like that, if you're going to go long, and then target something up there. So your trade might look a little something like, it's been having some decent swings, so you could probably just throw a bid somewhere in here, right? And your trade might end up looking something like this, right? Run 150. So 2.97 risk reward trade, 8.7% profit, almost 3% loss. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. So you might grab something like that, right? You could do the same thing if we're closing below. Obviously this one would have, we might still turn around and dump, but if you picked up short here, which you can't do on Binance, but I'm talking about MEX, if you were able to take a short, you may have stopped out up here depending on where you put your stop at. But you've got a pretty decent risk reward to drop down to this 1045 level if you think it's going to go there. Personally, just because of the Coinbase thing, I wouldn't be taking shorts on it right now. But that's just me. So, yeah, so that 4-hour OB works decently. It's not terrible. It's not great. Let's check this one out. This one, I think I'm going to like a little better. Let's see what's up. This one. Okay. So again, low liquidity, lower liquidity, so it's not respecting it as well as I would like. And you guys can poke around with these on different coins. You'll find that the less volume it has on average daily, the less likely it's going to be to adhere to these standards. But still gives us a rough idea. So yeah, not too bad, right? This we could almost extend this zone. It looks like, because we seem to have like this little area here where we keep wanting to wick. So let's find out what's going on with that. So this right here could actually be an excellent order block. This would be a bullish order block, right? Because we're finding demand in this area. So let's take a look and see what this one gives us. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. It's getting messy. Delete, delete, delete. Okay. Again, I don't think this is exactly the 50% because there's a little bit of a gap there between the open and the close of the two candles, but this one looks beautiful. Look at that. So we have, this one drips through. We have an exact touch. We have a dip into the block. We have exact touches again, dips into the block. I like this one a lot. So some of it's just kind of experimenting to find, okay, what are some valid ones, and then what is price actually respecting? Because there's going to be some that look like, oh yeah, I should totally draw that, and then it doesn't do anything, right? So you want to find the ones that price is actually going to respect, and kind of see how price reacts to various levels, and then find out which ones are the important ones, right? I've seen a couple people use Fibonacci levels as well, and search for order blocks around certain fib levels, which I thought was interesting. I haven't tried it myself, but kind of an interesting concept, right? So yeah, so I actually really like this one. I would just kind of stagger buys in this box here, and odds are, unless you're trying to fill a massive amount, you're probably going to get filled. So give me a second. I'm going to see if I can get that background noise turned down. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, so I like this order block quite a bit. I like this level. I'll hang on to that. I'll leave that on the chart. And then for our bearish order block right now, we're probably here's a good example here, because I like using this one here. This one looks like a good level to mark out, because we see a down candle, and that's a definite break in market structure, right? That's definitely a significant change. This would be an example of what was originally a bullish block, right? Because we market structure broke upwards. Ends up being a bearish block now because price is below that, right? And we have a lovely little invalidation there. If you see something like this where you have an order block established, it goes up and then it drops through, you can bet that we're going to come back and retest it. And surprise, there we go. And that's usually one of the strongest points to expect a reaction off of as well. So again, we'll go ahead and pull this out. Ta-da! Quick side note, for adjusting your rectangles like that, you can just draw one little one and always type in 350. It's always going to pull it out to about that same amount because the bar numbers change as new bars come in. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it does. So, yeah, so we got a little bit of a swing in validation there. But overall, respects the level pretty well with these wicks, right? And I'd be willing to bet we'll see some hesitation around this area once we come through it. It'll be an important resistance level to watch, in my opinion. But I think those are about the only really significant levels right now I'm watching. We could maybe find something around here. We might have to go back a little further for it. Right? It might be like, it's a bit low. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, we seem to be encountering resistance here. At that point, since I don't find a good order block or anything to draw, I might just drop something like this, right? Just to mark that, hey, that's a significant level, that 1200. 1200 round number psychological resistance maybe, and you know, just to keep an eye on it, but we don't need to draw it all the way out. Yeah, so I mean, I would just play these levels right here or something close to them if you guys want to play Cardano. And again, personally, I would be more willing to take longs on this because of the Coinbase news, and because right now overall Bitcoin market structure is, you know, it's kind of neutral, not a whole lot going on, right? And oftentimes alts will do really well in these periods. So 18 of y'all watching right now, so that's ADA. Let's see what you guys are looking at. XLM. Ooh, that's a good one. I've been meaning to check it out. So XLM. I don't remember who has the longest. Is it Bittrex? Probably Bittrex. Just gonna have the longest history, but it also has crap volume. So I'm gonna go ahead with Binance because I think the level's probably gonna be, oh, cheats. Remove all drawing tools. Cool. There we go. So as you can see, I had some levels already marked out there. Alright, XLM is interesting because it looks like we have, you know, the kind of this wedge pattern. You can kind of see that, right, guys? I'm assuming most of you have at least developed a little bit of an eye for stuff like that. Why are all my lines so weird? Anyway, I'm on the CryptoCritics account, so Noah and I are sharing the login on that because we both use it when we post charts, and then so he likes changing his lines to funky colors. Blame you for this, Noah. Anyway, so you guys can see that kind of triangle there, and there's my volume. So volume's kind of interesting. You know, it's dropped off a lot in, you know, since like September. Even on the sell-offs, you know, it wasn't too much volume there, but it's definitely spiking up again just this past week. So my bet is that we're going to see a breakout of this flag, but let's go ahead and chart it using horizontals like we've been doing. You know, it's kind of something to just keep an eye on if you see a classical chart pattern forming. But that volume is promising considering how weak it's been for the past couple weeks. Alright, so order blocks here. I think the best looking one's going to be this one right here. Right? I think you guys would probably all agree. There we go. Because, you know, we see a downtrend, definite break in market structure, we shoot back up, right, for like 3 weeks. For like 6 weeks. Whatever. I can't count. I would say that's a pretty solid place to put one of these. And as you can see, you know, the EQ is very well respected. This, you know, we dip into it a little bit. We see some nice reactions. This bounce was very strong, actually, especially compared to the last bounce. It's a sign of an increased strength, right? We also see a nice volume spike on that, which I would expect from a candle that large. But yeah, so definitely a well-respected level. I like this one. We can also draw a bearish one. We can either draw it here, right, this big one, or we can draw it here. And so at this point, it's kind of just a matter of which one is going to give us the best information. I tend to prioritize newer blocks, but you know, it's whatever works the best. All right, so that one really, you know, it kind of works, right? It's not terrible, but not ideal in my opinion. And you guys will get an eye for this as you practice. If you guys end up, you know, if you guys do kind of the same stuff that I do, use the similar styles of charting, you'll kind of see, okay, you'll catch an eye for it, like, hey, that's not a good place to put that, or hey, that's a great place to put this. So this one is respected a lot better, right? So we see, hey, you know, we get wicks, strong reaction. We jump down, we hit the EQ, strong reaction, right? And we're coming in here, so this is gonna be the second test of the EQ if we hit it, of course. But the third test of that zone, which we've already closed a candle deeper into it than we have since the establishment of that zone, right? we're getting an uptick in volume, in buy volume. Now, if the volume dies off here, you know, you can bet on it going back down, right? Because you don't want to see decreasing volume at a resistance if you're hoping to break through it. It looks like, you know, from a weekly perspective, I wouldn't necessarily want to long this. Again, this is also one of those, I don't remember if it's on the Coinbase listing or if it's just rumored. I think it's on the listing. But anyway, lots to talk about it in Coinbase. And overall, you know, just super clean market structure. I just love stuff like this. But go ahead and drop it into the 1 day. So 1 day. Let's see what we can find here. I would say just poking around here. I know I had stuff on here, but I don't remember what I was thinking. So we actually have to go back and find all of this all over again, which is fun. Tons of fun. It's all kind of been, we've all got these massive candles, which typically I don't really like to do. You know, where you just have like half your screen taken up by an order block. But if we have to, that's what we'll do. So, I mean, this could be an order block, but holy crap. Like, look at that monster. I'm also trying to figure out what's going to actually be respected and established as a level. So, this right here looks like a pretty good one. Need to zoom in. So we'll go ahead and drop our fib, which will change back to black because we're now on the daily, and our box. Oops, coordinates, okay. 350, pull that out. And this one looks lovely. Like, look at that. We see tons of respect for, you know, for the box there. And we got like a perfect little support resistance flip and then took off. Again, if you longed here, which, you know, is a great idea, your next level you're really looking at is probably that 45.13 level, 45.15, 45.10, something in that area, right? If you're playing short-term stuff, it's probably where you want to be taking your profits. Now, if you're you know, super excited for the Coinbase stuff and you're ready for the listing, you think it's going to take off and go to the moon, then yeah, you know, maybe you take a little profit, maybe you just hang on to it, you know, whatever you want to do. But that's, regardless, that's the next area of resistance that you want to keep an eye on, right? So, but yeah, I like this order block here quite a bit. Plenty of respect on, you know, top, bottom, and the EQ of it. Now, if we get a retest, I would love to be able to long XLM on a retest of the EQ, but I will take a small pullback to like that 4100 level, maybe something around there, right? I would definitely take a long position on that. So I like that. Then we can also draw some stuff. You know, maybe we could draw an EQ here in case that ends up being important later. We could here's a like halfway through the move one, right, where we see a large move. Then there's a bit of a sell-off, but smart money is obviously buying that sell-off because then we end up shooting up even higher. So that would be a decent place to put an EQ to show you how that works. Let's take a look and see how price respects that. Wow, 50% fib of that. The EQ there is a very nice level. I like that. And then the OB looks, oh, that's not where we're supposed to be. Yeah, pretty decent. So kind of messy around this area, right? Not a huge fan, but does end up coming into play here, and then also again over here. Again, we get one of those fake outs a little bit, but overall pretty decent. Could also draw one maybe here on this down candle. You could draw one somewhere over here if you want to, but we've already kind of got that level in that area, which I think does a better job. Or maybe something like this level. And the reason I picked this one is because it's a larger candle. That's kind of in the middle of a range. There's not really a good single down candle to choose. You could even maybe combine these three if you really wanted to. I haven't really messed with doing that too much, but you know, that's kind of the biggest down move that you would see before taking off up there, because these don't really do a whole lot for you. You know what I mean? So we don't have any points of respect. Now, if price ever got back down to this point, I would start looking at these and seeing, okay, which one seems to make sense. But if you're not confident in it, you're not going to want to base a trade off of something like that where you can't really tell what's supposed to be going on. At least I can't. So that's kind of what lumens are looking at on the daily. Let's check the 4 hour, see if there's anything more interesting to find. A lot of blue on the screen now, right? And a lot of this is just going to be kind of, at this point, within the same sort of zones and ranges. Because, you know, you might draw one here, the top of the move, and that would be pretty well respected. Like 50% would be right around there, right? We get that flip right there. Works pretty well. You guys can probably kind of visualize it with me. Let's see, some other good ones. We'd probably draw one, you know, right here. That would probably be a good catch for this level right here. Just a little pausing point, right? That little section. But yeah, with the lower liquidity coins, and again, it's funny to talk about these lower liquidity because, you know, this is what, like number 8 in the market cap, something like that. You know, it's a pretty high profile coin, XLM, but because the volume overall is still so low, compared to broader markets, some of these concepts have a hard have difficulty transferring. So you kind of got to get creative with it, and on lower volume stuff, you know, you might have to do stuff with the ranges or with the swing failure points, things like that. So, yeah, not a whole lot more to say on the 4 hour. This is one of those times when it's like the 4 hour doesn't really tell you much more than the daily. It doesn't really help you determine entries a whole lot better just because it's moving kind of erratically. You can get the zone went down. Did the stream go down for you guys? Just popped me up like a little error message there, said OBS went down. Let me check my dashboard. OBS is being weird. Stream resumed. Stream is continuing. Okay. I think I cut out there for a minute. Must have been something with the internet. That was odd. Okay. Yeah, welcome back, guys. I'm still here. Yeah, I completely forgot what I was just saying. But I think that is about it for XLM. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the ETH perpetual swap on BitMEX, which is already drawn on. So we'll go ahead and change that. Take a look at the weekly. Not a whole lot of history to go off of, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and say it looks like this candle right here, you know, this was downtrend, right? And it doesn't look like we're still in a downtrend. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this candle right here is a basis for an order block. Now, that could be proven wrong later in the future, but as of right now, at least the 50% level, the EQ, is fairly well respected. So that is a plus. I'm not going to draw the box because it doesn't really help. Just know that, hey, unless we drop below 195.90, we're still in the box. Or we go above 295.40, which hasn't happened in quite some time. So I'm just going to leave that there. I don't know why it keeps just throwing this thing down to the bottom of my screen. And then we'll go ahead and drop in on the daily where we have a bit more to go off of, right? So, daily order blocks, let's see. So this one right here, not a whole lot of candle body to go off of, not a whole lot of respect either. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore it. Why? Executive call. Again, got to figure out what works. This one seems to be quite a bit more respected, right? There's more going on in this range. seems to be a little bit more useful to tell us what's going on. We could maybe combine these two together, right? If we wanted to do that. Let's try that. I haven't done that. So that puts us right there. And then, alright. Doesn't really make a huge difference. I kind of like it better the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Move that back. TradingView is kind of a pain sometimes, especially while streaming, because it takes forever to get something right. Magnet mode is a lifesaver. So we got this order block here. You know, I longed 200 back, like right here, somewhere around that, somewhere in this time frame. That would have been like what, a week and a half ago? No, I think it might have been even like back here, because I was gone for a while, and then I kind of came back. I don't remember. So anyway, long back there. The next thing we could kind of look at is we could maybe consider this one or block. We could try it, because it's almost like we have like a little bit of a sideways market structure before then breaking into more sideways. So that's probably not a good one. Scratch that. Forget I said anything. Here, this may be a level worth watching. This right here. Which we're kind of butting up against that right now. We kind of just bounced off that order block, so I actually like that quite a bit, right? Decent respect for the EQ, and then almost dead on accurate. See, this box starts at like 224.20, and we got as high as 223.80, so within 40 cents. It's not bad. I kind of like that. And that's a pretty good, you know, a good like range limit when you compare the 245.65 level to the 236.03 with this box here. I rather like it. It gives us a very nice, clean, predefined range, right? What it does shows we have a decent amount of resistance overhead here, and I'd be willing to bet that there's past support/resistance in this area if we were to pull up a longer term chart. So let's go ahead and do that. If I can type, which I cannot. So what we were saying the 235 to like 245 area. Let's see. 235 to 245. Okay, 230. Yeah, so that's like right in this area right here, right? So we have some support at like 250, right around, you know, this area right here. 247, 244, yeah, so 245, right around there. Plenty of past, you know, support structure. So we can kind of see. I'm just going to draw this as a horizontal line, so you guys can see a little better. So we have some decent interaction at that level already, right? Then up, and away, ETH goes crazy. Then we almost come down and kind of touch that there, and then boom, we're right back at that level. 235, I didn't remember to check for anything there, but $235, that's like 230-ish. Yeah, kind of just that same little band there. It's like just that little area. So not bad. Anyway, so that gives us kind of our little predefined range we're sitting in. So I posted on Twitter earlier tonight, you know, I might get the chance to long Ethereum at $200 again. Yeah, if it comes back down here, am I going to do that? Absolutely. Why? Because the risk reward's pretty darn decent. Now, if on conversely, I'd actually be pretty happy to get a short somewhere in this blue box here too, because as long as it doesn't immediately blow past my stop, I'm probably going to end up making a little bit on it just because the funding is stupid high in favor of the shorts and has been since the ETH perpetual swap came out. Um, so that is always a bonus. I know because when I grabbed that Ethereum long, I lost like 30% of my profits on that long to um, to funding. I paid out like 30% of the profits I would have otherwise had into funding. Still, net positive on the trade. No worries there, but kind of stuck. Kind of sucked. Stunk. Sucked. Stucked. But yeah, so that's Ethereum. We can zoom in on the 4-hour and see if there are any other good levels. We got like a little indecision zone there, but we have a very well-defined order block, I would say, right? Put that there. Or we could even, put it all the way on this one, where we had a little bit of a down move, followed by sideways motion, but I like this one a little bit better. So go ahead and we can draw the EQ. There's not really going to be a whole lot of respect for it, but got two little touches, got some wicks outside of that. And yeah, you can, kind of, if I think if Bitcoin continues up here, we'll most likely see ETH follow suit, and we'll probably see it up here. But yeah, like in that 224 and up range, pretty much, I'm probably going to be looking for shorts. I'll be honest with you. There'd be another order block up here somewhere, maybe, that we could draw if we wanted to do that. Or even up here. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? We could maybe do one here, but there's not a whole lot of reason for it right now. Price isn't that close. But you can kind of see, hey, we came back, got that touch, then we blew past it. Yeah, another one of those scenarios. There's not a whole lot going on right now that really needs a 4-hour block to be printed off, except maybe this one, because that's, close to price action is actually useful. So, we might see a little bit of resistance up here as we come up. So I'll show you that. Go ahead and draw that out. There we go. So yeah, we'll probably, that was actually very, very precise little touch there. So that might be our first point of resistance, is like that 219 level. And then if we break that, then we're probably looking at, we might even get a wick to the blue box even if we don't have a candle close over it. But that's probably our next minor resistance level. And then this big blue band, has a couple different resistance levels. Quite a bit of space in there, yeah. So we got like all the way from 224 to 248. So there's a $24 range in there, which is like, almost 10% of the price. But actually, it's more than 10% of the current price. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, would have been nice to get that long this morning. That would have been cool, but didn't. Don't cry over spilled milk, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's that's kind of the top-down charting approach I like to take on things. I like doing that semi-regularly. I mean, I don't do this every week, where I clear out all my charts and make new levels, but I try to do it, at least semi-regularly, so I'm not staring at the same levels all the time. I may have missed something. It might be time to say, hey, look, this level is actually being very well respected, and it could be useful to trade off of. So every once in a while, I recommend doing that. Just clearing the whole chart and then looking at it with a fresh set of eyes and seeing what you can find. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hi, first time here, but really like the stream. Don't know if you do requests, but if you do, I would appreciate a look at go/Bitcoin. I will take one request. I usually don't do the requests because then people just start like spamming requests at me, and to be quite honest, it's kind of irritating. But I'll do a quick one on the daily and weekly. Okay, weekly looks like absolutely useless because there's no history on it. Daily. Again, this is not a high liquidity coin. Where'd my volume go? Come back. There we go. Yeah, volume's dropped off. Not a whole lot of thoughts on this one, to be honest with you, man. I mean, it's overall decent. Yeah, like obviously it's been growing. It's been doing well. Um, bear market hasn't even hurt it that badly. I mean, I see it went in a slump. Like that's way better than a lot of coins had it. Like holy crap. Went from, I mean, all-time high is like what? 1300 sats, like 1250, 1270, down to, you know, 871. That's like a 50% decrease. That's, it's crazy saying that a 50% decrease isn't that bad, but it's really not when you look at the rest of the market. Um, looks like it's been performing well for the past like 2, 3 months. So yeah, overall not bad. I would say probably like in an indecision zone here where there's not going to be a whole lot of motion for a little bit. So it kind of seems to have plateaued. We switched from a bull run to what looks like a ranging run now. So we might kind of see like this sort of back and forth type bouncing. Um, let me see. I'm just trying to find like some respected levels. Okay, so we have like that area looks pretty good, right? Like that looks like a decent support resistance area. So yeah, if you're looking to long it, I would try to grab it somewhere around 1070. The line's at 1072, so you could use that if you wanted to. Yeah, past that, I mean, the only real resistance is going to be like right at that all-time high at 12 or close to it, like the 1240 level ish. Gosh dang it, I hate that thing. So I mean, I would take some profit at that if it hits that first, and if you want to let a bag run, that's great, fine. Um, or you could just cut your entire position if you've been holding it for a while, especially if you got it down somewhere right here. Like that's not bad to go from 900 to 1240 or whatever. Um, that's a 33% increase, right? So but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I will see you again next time. Later.